So here we are in the backyard. We got a call today about some raccoon trouble going on the roof and in the yard. We got here and we noticed that we have some trees that are close to the roof line, and we noticed that we have some really moist sod that was recently put in. We also have a swimming pool, so we have a number of attractants, and we're going to talk about some things that the homeowner can do today in order to help ameliorate this situation. So the first thing that we talked about was squirrels. In addition to having raccoons, this homeowner also has squirrels, and she's concerned about that. She has some smaller animals in the yard, and she sees a lot of activity. So one time she said she even saw a T-bone steak dropped off of the wire by one of the squirrels. So she's having some debris in her yard. So we talked about the squirrel situation, and we realized there's not really that much that can be done about that. We've got a lot of neighbors here that have fruit trees. We've got wires here that they like to crawl across, and we also have neighbors feeding squirrels. So that's going to be an issue that we might not be able to do that much about. And there isn't too much concern where squirrels are involved. They don't do much damage around the home, and they're just sort of around. But the raccoon problem is a little more serious. Raccoons can they can carry things. They can carry zoonotic diseases. And those are diseases that can get transferred from animals to people. So that's something we want to be a little more concerned about. Also, again, she's got small animals that are using this yard. So if they were to encounter raccoon poop, we really wouldn't want to see that. The good news is, so far we haven't located a latrine area in this backyard, which tells me they're not spending a whole lot of time here, which is going to make our job a little bit easier. And today we're going to talk about some deterrents that she can use back here in order to keep these raccoons in other places. They live in this area. The raccoons live, pretty much this whole block, this whole half-mile to mile radius. This is their territory. This is their home. They have various nesting and denning places, various places where they will sleep, and a few latrines in the area. So humanely harassing them out of one yard is not a big deal for them. It's just sort of a matter of retraining them. So we're just going to make this yard as uncomfortable as possible. The first thing that I'm going to recommend is that when watering occurs on this moist sod, we do it early in the morning so that by nightfall it's dried up and it's not as much of a pull. The other thing I'm going to recommend is ammonia rags. Raccoons don't like ammonia. Now, obviously you wouldn't want to put a rag right on your grass, but if you get some sort of a plate and you can put a rag that's been dipped in ammonia strategically in a few different places around the yard, they're not going to like that, and they're going to stay away from that. If she had a latrine, I would be telling her, we're going to clean up that poop and we're going to put an ammonia rag right there, and they're going to stop using that as a latrine. The other thing we're recommending is the trees that are right next to the house need to get trimmed back a little bit. So we've got, at least several feet between the roof line and the tree. That's going to keep them off of her roof, hopefully, and away from the rest of the backyard. The other things that we are going to talk about today, one of them includes this scarecrow. This is a motion sensing waterer. And so we can put this at the perimeter, and when they actually get into the yard at night, it will spray them with water. And while they love water, they don't love being sprayed with water. The other thing we're going to have back here is motion sensing light. But for the next week or two, when we go to bed, we're just going to leave that light on all night. And we're going to let the neighbors know that we're doing that, and we're going to let them know why, so they don't get mad at us for having our light on all night. But if we do this, if we can stand strong with our plan for a week or two, that should be enough for them to change their habits and make this no longer a part of their routine. And that's really what our goal is. So we're going to do a bunch of stuff all at the same time to get them to just be like, this is not what we want to do, this is not where we want to be. And then we can kind of go back to our regular lifestyle a little bit, just being vigilant and making sure that they're not coming back for any reason. So the other ideas, the other things in my bag of tricks for raccoons, this is our little Humane Harassment Kit. If we were having a problem with these raccoons in the attic, I would put this battery operated light and battery operated radio up there and just leave it on until the batteries run out. And usually the raccoons will clear themselves out of there. If they have babies, they'll take them with them. They don't like light and sound. The last thing they want is an all-night disco. Also, when I'm not sure who the culprit is, this is a tool that I find to be handy. We know who it is in this situation, so she doesn't need to borrow this camera. She's actually seen the raccoons in her yard, so this is not something we're going to use today, but it is something that's part of our toolbox. Another fun thing in our toolbox is the air horn. This is something super fun that we got from the dollar store, and of course this one broke on the way over, but yeah, it's not going to make the noise. But anyway, this usually works. And if they're in the backyard and she's standing at the door and she makes this noise and sorts of come at them a little bit, they're going to clear out. They're not going to like that at all. And if that happens a few times, that's also going to teach them, don't come in my yard. And then for when she's, the other option for that, which is similar, is this little noise blower, which can be worn as a necklace, and it is a Humane Wildlife Hazer, and you simply blow in the little hole on the side and it makes a noise like an air horn. And I'm not going to blow it right now because I'm going to leave this with the homeowner today, but again, this is something she could have by the door, and when she sees them out here, she can just come out and she can just blow it, and she can be big and loud and obnoxious, making sure that her dogs are not running out behind her, and that will help get the raccoons to understand they are not welcome here. So they will be bold, they will come in groups, they're very, very social. North America does not have any primates, but, the United States doesn't have any primates, but if we had one animal that filled the niche of the primate, it would be the raccoon. He's got these super nimble hands, he's super social, and if he wanted to spend his whole life in the trees, he literally could. So they're very smart, and it's not always easy, but this can totally be done humanely, and it just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of understanding of animal behavior. So we're going to try this out and we're going to see how it goes. We'll be getting updates from the homeowner probably daily for the next week.